minutes of, okay, well, I'll call a meeting to order. December 2nd, Fire Protection Board meeting. First item on the agenda is the minutes of the September 9th meeting.
Make a motion to be accepted.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion? The only discussion I have, Karen, is you said that the minutes, trying to think the exact wording there, unanimously to approve with the corrections. I mean, so somewhere in the recording, it shows what the corrections were, or?
Yeah, so
Okay,
so for what I did was I corrected it. You guys looked at the draft minutes, you suggested corrections, and then what I do is I correct it, and then that becomes the final minutes, and that is posted on the website.
okay, so you correct the previous meeting's minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, that was my only question. I just, years ago, used to state what the corrections, were.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right, thank you. All in favor of accepting the minutes signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Motion's passed. Comments and concerns? Any comments or concerns? No, hearing none, moving on. DCP investigation report. We have Director Brown and
Right, for the record, Pamela Brown and Janita Hamill reporting out. Janita will read the report to you.
I just sent it to you by email. I got it from Janita this morning, so if you can check your email, it is there. Otherwise, I can do the screen share, or if Janita just wants to report on it.
I did see it.
There aren't any cases listed on here.
Right.
Janita, waiting for Janita to weigh in.
You have to unmute, Janita.
Thank you, Tony. All right, sorry about that.
So the members, were you able to receive the report ahead of time, or if not, I can display it?
no, I didn't receive it, Director.
You did not? Okay.
Well, it may be in my mail, but I didn't have a chance to open it.
Karen,
Do you want me to put it up on the screen, or did you want to do it, Pam? Or
I can do it. I have it open. So.
okay.
Now, can you see that?
Yep.
Okay. Is that large enough?
Having a hard time reading it myself. I don't know about. Okay,
That's good.
blank report.
Well, no, it's not exactly a blank report, Mr. Chairman. For the time from September 1st, 2021 to October 31st, 2021, the department received a new complaint that is being investigated.
So here.
Okay,
Mine's missing the line 2 is missing on mine.
Yes, Mr. Hurlburt, that's because people can't see the open cases.
Oh, is that what's in line 2 is the open cases?
Yes, sir.
that's department's way of redacting it.
Well, yes, because if you're going to hear the matter, sir, you can't know ahead of time
Okay, no,
who's who and what's what.
So we can't hear what the complaints are?
Not when they're open, sir. No, sir. Not until after they've been closed.
Wayne, you and I've had a conversation about that. Like when you raise issues through the other organization, you have knowledge of those cases. So therefore, you would need to possibly step down. You would not be able to be involved in the hearing process. So with the boards, we don't share the information as far as the respondents and the allegations because they're open investigations. And also, we wouldn't want to put you in a situation where you would have to step down.
Okay, I misunderstood from our meeting then. I thought this is where we can ask what the open complaints are.
No, this is where you can ask about the closed cases.
Director, if I may ask, so this open complaint could ultimately end up either in the charges being dropped or an AVC or it could go to a board hearing, correct?
I'll let Janita speak with her because that's her area that she works.
Okay,
And so I'll let her
Mr.
answer that question.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, we don't drop the charges, as you're saying. When a complaint comes in, we investigate it. And if there's no violations, it will be closed as no violations. There's a contractor of record, there was a permit, there was a proper amount of journey people and apprentices. If there's violations, then it could result in an assurance of voluntary compliance, or it could result in a report to the legal department, which will come to the board. In either case, if it's an assurance of voluntary compliance, it's at legal, or it's open and it's being investigated and we don't know what the outcome is until the completion of the investigation. We can't discuss it here because basically we're looking towards an assurance of voluntary compliance or a report to legal for the board.
I just want to clarify, when I said dropped, I mean, I didn't infer you
No,
dropped.
I know you meant closed, but I just wanted
Yeah.
to clarify
Right,
that it will be closed for no violations.
right,
The other thing that could happen, if it's an anonymous complaint and we start the investigation, we go do a site inspection, there's no violations on the day that we're there. We contact the company and we bring to their attention what the violations are. And they or through their attorney will tell us, nope, that's wrong. We never did this. We never did that. We never did this. Here's the contractor of record. Here's the journey person's licenses. We never had unlicensed people on that job. With an anonymous complaint, we have nobody to go back to say, who's your witness? Who saw them do what on the job on this day? So anonymous complaints, and we created Director Brown and the IT and the commissioner for the board specifically created the anonymous complaints for these reports to come in. And we address and investigate all of them. The problem is, once we start the investigation, and they say, no, we have nobody to go back to and say, who saw who? Who saw Kevin Wipachowski doing work at 165 Capitol Avenue on the renovation without an F2 license or an F1 license in his pocket? And
Right.
Tony Moscato's the contractor and he's got the F1. He says, oh no, DCP, nope, you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong. So it makes it hard.
right.
So then there's insufficient evidence. However, to the best of our ability with our investigation and inspections, we look to having any violations found. There is a converse action for a violation, and that, like you said, sir, could be an AVC or a report to legal, in which case then legal determines the next move, and then when it gets down to you, you determine the next move, and it comes back to us through you and legal, what you did.
So I had made a complaint a while back. I went on a job site, found,
Sir, you're discussing open files and we
this
can't
isn't an
discuss
open
it.
file, it was closed. I made a complaint. I put it to the board, not to the board, to DCP. Right away, on this job site, I found a licensed fitter with 3 apprentices. There was no other fitters on site. I happen to know who the fitter was. He was a former member. I made the complaint. It right away generated a letter to that contractor, and his response was, I don't know who Wayne is, and I would never do that. And then the case was closed. I don't understand how that's an investigation because the guy says he would never do it.
Mr. Roderick, could you please send the file number in an email to Director Brown and myself to look
Yeah, I'll
at?
have to dig it through. This was a long time ago. I'll have to dig it through, my files.
Okay, if you wouldn't mind, please forwarding that to Director Brown and I.
Yes, I will.
Thank you, sir.
Does that conclude your report, Inspector?
Unless there's more questions from your board.
No, I didn't.
I'd like to know the two closed cases.
Excuse me?
There's C and D. I don't know if I'm not reading it right. It said closed current. Does that mean they're closed?
There should be a 0 there, sir.
Yeah.
Then there's no information to be provided.
Okay.
Unless there's a number. This is a report that was created with IT and a former director. And unless there's a number in those slots, there's nothing to report on them.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay. Thank you for your report, Director Brown and Senior Inspector Hamel. Thank you.
You're
Thank you.
welcome, Mr. Chairman.
Okay. Moving on, old business. Backflow prevention. I know last been 3 months. I guess it was requested that Leslie O'Brien attend the meeting or whatever, or get some input. Has she been invited to today's meeting, Karen? Richard?
She wasn't invited to today's. I didn't know you were still looking for her to come to, to join us for this.
Well, I guess the way I understand it, the infrequency of these meetings being every 3 months, but I mean, she's the legislative liaison or whatever. So, I mean, we're getting in close to by the time we have our next meeting, the House is going to be in session. So if there wants to be, I'm directing this to probably, Richard, something has to be proposed or whatever to include the installation of sprinkler system, fire sprinkler system backflows capability to be installed by a F2 or F1 license holder, not a P1 or P2.
I thought she already said it needs to have a legislative change, and she suggested that the industry lobby to get that change. I'm not sure. I have to go back through the minutes when this originally started.
The last
Last meeting, you just tabled the issue.
Because she didn't show up, I remember.
And she had been invited to the last meeting. And,
yep.
And maybe 1 or 2 before that. Yep.
Oh, so she was invited for this matter?
The last meeting back in September, and I'm reading.
Meetings. Yeah.
The board would like to move forward with proposing changes to the regulations and/or statutes pertaining to this topic. Leslie O'Brien has been invited to this meeting for further discussion. Because she wasn't there, there was no further no discussion took place on the topic. So I don't think it's right now. It's not a dead, but I mean, time is marching on, and I don't want to see, the session come and go and say, gee, you dropped the ball when it wasn't us. We've been asking, like I say, the infrequency every 3 months, it's not a big thing to ask. I mean, she knows this is an issue. So, I mean, like I say, I unless it calls for a specially called meeting or whatever, but we're in December. We don't meet again till March 10th. by that time, it'd be a little late to get something introduced. Comments?
It was excuse me, the September meeting, and the June meeting, and the document for the meeting was included a backflow. Hang on 1 second here. Right, back in September 9th meeting, the board would like to move forward with proposing changes. Leslie O'Brien has been invited to this meeting for further discussion. And then there was the June minutes. Hang on.
We had been invited to the March meeting and the June meeting. It's been going on since 2020, September 2020. I'm looking back at the agenda, the March and the June.
I'm looking at my notes. I just want to interject this. I'm going back to the June meeting.
Right.
She was invited to the September meeting.
Well, like I say, my notes read, much discussion regarding the plumber installing backflow devices on fire sprinkler systems. Leslie O'Brien needs to address, email to, and that was back in June. September, mine reads backflow, and then I've got report from Leslie O'Brien, question mark, because she didn't attend. So now we're into December and we still have nothing.
Maybe it'll take a letter from the chairman to her. I mean, how else do you get to her? I don't know. Unless they don't need the board. If they don't need the board, I don't need to waste my time. I mean.
No, that's my point, Tony. I mean, it's like,
If that's what they want.
we ask for things.
There's a lot of other things I could be doing right now.
Well, like I say, all I could say is, Rich, I don't know if you and Karen are in direct contact with Leslie, if you see her. I don't know if you guys are in the office.
Yeah, well, Karen can send her another email that the board had anticipated her being here today, and could she please come to the next meeting?
Well, no, we need something from her that is going to be introduced in the legislative session. When's it start? February? I'm not totally sure.
I don't know. Any department proposals, I think, get done in September.
Huh. So apparently the ball was dropped.
Probably already missed the deadline.
Sometimes you wonder that, I mean, it's an important issue to the fire protection industry. And there was plenty of time for this to be discussed. Now, I remember Tony and I have been on this board for almost 25 years. We were told that the people in the department read these minutes.
For you, Mr. Chair, Andrea Comer, good morning. Leslie will be joining momentarily. I've texted her.
Oh, thank you.
Sure.
Thank you, Andrea.
Take a short recess here, or we can, not recess, but just a short break. And
But either that, or if there's anything else, we can go through and continue anything else we have to continue and then come back to that.
Well, go to new business if you want, Well, I'm sorry, we still have the F5, F6 licensed manufacturers. Oh, no, that was, I'm sorry. That was it for new business. I'm reading, I got too many papers out in front of me. I got the minutes and the agenda, whatever. But anyways, new business, the application review. There was 3 meetings held. One was held back in September. The Cliff Sur Dam, he applied for an F2. He had a letter from 669 that he completed the apprenticeship. He had a federal completion certificate. He was recommended to be approved. That was the only one for September. October, there was a Michael Simons applied for an F3. He had no F4. He submitted a CC 46 and a CC 48 certificates. He was recommended to be denied for the F3 by the three, you know, Rich was present, Todd Birch. But he was approved for an F4. And again, it's, my opinion is I don't think we should, when a person applies for a specific license, it should be denied and then go through the process again. He should, doesn't have to pay another fee, but he should, we don't have the luxury of changing his application. But anyways, he was approved for an F4. Luke Gayetta, he applied for an F1. He had a journey level sprinkler fitter Washington State license. He had no F2 in Connecticut. The DOL was asked to assess the Washington license. It was recommended to deny his F1. Anybody, if you have any questions, just stop me or whatever.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
You may want to, I asked Leslie O'Brien on now. I'm sure she's busy, so you may want to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was, okay.
Go back.
I'll suspend my report and then we'll go to Leslie O'Brien.
And just so that you know, we have Leslie, we have Paulette, and we also have Kim Glassman is in the meeting as an attendee, which means she can't speak right now. She's just observing. So at any time, if you wanted me to, if you wanted to address her, just let me know. But she is in as an attendee, as I said.
Okay.
And hi, Leslie. Can you hear us?
Hello, I'm here. Hello.
Hi, Leslie.
Sorry, I'm sorry I was late. Paula and I were in a different meeting, so it just topped over. Sorry.
Just to bring you up to speed, Leslie, it's back in June 10th meeting, issue of backflow came up. And there was much discussion took place at the Fire Protection Board because there was a correspondence received that a sprinkler fitter, or let's say the holder of an F2 or F1 license is not allowed to put the backflow prevention in on a sprinkler system. It has to be done by a P2, P1. Much discussion on that. So we were told you need to address it, and you were going to be emailed. That was back in June. The September meeting, which we thought you were going to attend, we didn't hear from you. So there was no report. So we don't know where it stands.
Oh,
it's coming up.
So I'm sorry, David. I am unaware of this issue at all. Like did I miss this somehow? I mean, obviously, as you know, our agency's been dealing with a lot with the expansion of gaming and recreational cannabis. There's been a lot going on. So I apologize if somehow I missed this. I did not know that there was an issue with regard to licensing between this board and the plumbing board when it comes to backflow. So if you want to send me, I apologize. So if I missed this.
Well, I'm a little disheartened because we were just told that the things have to be introduced, legislative changes have to be in by September. I mean, we know, supposedly you were emailed this back in June, which would have been ample time to have something proposed, because like I say, it's kind of, I don't know, you want to say ludicrous or even idiotic to have a sprinkler system be totally installed by an F license holder, and then have to have a P holder come in to put the backflow in.
And have you talked with the plumbing board about this? Is there a dispute between your two boards? Like, are you all on the same page?
No, it was this was I don't want to say a bombshell dropped on us by, Rich informed us, it's not, you're not allowed to put the backflow in. I mean, it's, I mean, I don't know. It's just like, I've been there 25 years on this board and I mean, just to give you an example, we always thought there was the 5-foot rule on the underground, which we told it doesn't exist. So, I mean, then we're informed that the backflow can't be installed by a sprinkler fitter. So, I mean, it's like you start building your valve room or whatever, you start building your mechanical system for the fire protection. You don't want to leave a space out for this to be at the mercy of whenever the plumber can come in and put it in. Plus, the contractor now has to hire a P1 or P2 license holder to come in and put this backflow device in.
So to be clear, I'm looking in my emails. I've searched the word backflow, and what I have is just an email that was sent to everyone. But I didn't realize this. There was nothing sent specifically to me, and I apologize, Karen.
I just sent you, resent you the one that I sent where you were invited to the June meeting, and I can send you the one for September as well. I just resent it.
That's fine. These are sort of generic emails. I think that are.
I sent a separate one.
Yeah. Okay.
It wasn't just a generic invite that I do to all the DCP board staff.
Yeah.
I sent you a separate one for those two.
Okay. I apologize.
Well,
but at the end of the day, I guess what I need to find out, and I'll move quickly on it, and then we'll see what we can do. Is everybody on the same page? Is the plumbing board also on the same page on this change? I will work on something, but this is not, I mean, I can still go and ask for a change. The governor's office does need to sign off on our legislative agenda, but I can. It's not the end of the world, David. I can, as long as everyone's in agreement about a language change, then as long as that's the case, then it's not that difficult.
I mean, I'm looking back at my notes now. I go back to December of 2020, and it was discussed there. And again, I'd have to look back, do some further research because it says backflow. It says see email. This is from my notes now. It says Richard feels the statutory change is in order. And
David, I'm sorry. David, I screwed up, okay?
Oh, no, I'm just saying, but I mean,
I don't know what to say to you. There's been a lot going on, and I apologize. It's my fault. I accept responsibility. This slipped through my cracks, and I'm sorry. Now, I will talk with everybody about figuring out how to fix it.
Thank you. That's all. I just
want. I just don't know what else to say. I'm sitting at home with a kid with COVID right now. I've got a lot going on. It's been a horrible year. I'm sorry that this slipped through the cracks on my end.
I accept that, Leslie. I'm not trying to, crucify you or anything. I'm just saying, it's like, it's an important issue, and it's so I appreciate if you could reach out to the legislative departments.
I need to know, well, again, have you worked this out with the plumbing board? Is everybody on the same page? Is the plumbing board on the same page? Like, that's what I need to go find out, unless you know.
I haven't reached out to the plumbing board. I don't know if Richard had,
Okay.
This was something, it's like, how, first of all, you talk about falling through the cracks. I don't know how this ever fell through the cracks that somebody introduced this, that the plumber installs the backflow on a fire protection system. So I don't know who introduced this and when it was introduced. All I'd like to do is rectify it and get it corrected.
Richard, do you have any history here of how this happened?
No, except that the plumbers claim it's their work. So with the legislative change in the definition of fire sprinkler work, then the fire sprinkler people could also install a backflow prevention device.
Say that again?
Plumbers have to work on all systems, all water for human usage, and it includes the backflow prevention device. And then once they put in the backflow prevention device, then that separates the potable drinking water from the sprinkler system. So that's why the plumbers do the backflow prevention devices. But if the sprinkler fitters want to do it in conjunction with their installation, because the plumber's not on the site yet, then they'll have to add the word backflow to their definition.
If I can interject, I'm not sure. Sprinkler fitters used to, if I'm not, correct me, Richard, if I'm wrong, but used to install backflow preventers back in time. And most systems, not with what you just said, Richard, most systems going to fire sprinkler systems are separate lines away from the potable. You have a potable goes to the building, and then there's a separate line brought in for the fire system.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you there, but that's not always the case.
But it's, Richard, it still comes off the same domestic.
I understand how it all works.
No, I'm not trying to educate you, but I guess in why I feel this is important. I mean, I've been retired, you know, I guess hopefully I'm beyond the statute of limitations because I guess I broke the law. I've put countless backflows in on sprinkler systems over my years in the business since backflows were introduced to fire protection. Never, ever have I seen the company call and have the plumber come out and put it in. So like I say, I mean, when this was brought up to the board, it was like a bombshell to me. And all I want to see is this clarified, or, you know, I don't say even clarified, rectified, where it's part of the work of a sprinkler fitter.
So just to be clear, as I understand it, it's not, this was never in your definition. So, right? I mean, so this has not been in the definition. Like nothing's changed statutorily or regulatory wise. No, there's been no change.
I don't have the definition in front of me, but I believe it calls for all components of the system to be installed by the sprinkler fitter.
Well, the other issue you're going to have, Dave, is besides installing it, say you have a bad backflow in a building, no customer or building owner is going to change the backflow. It's going to contaminate the water when they have to pay for a plumber and a sprinkler fitter to come in, because the plumber can't impair the sprinkler system without an F license. So that's another step that needs to be looked at, besides just that they're saying that they install it and we don't. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, it's a cost to the consumer. I mean, we're supposed to be user friendly
Business
here.
friendly.
You know, so. And Leslie, like I say, you're aware of it now. I'd appreciate anything you could do.
Yeah, I apologize. In the future, if you're not hearing from me, please call me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that like a phone call to me I would have realized what was going on. This is my bad. You know, we get so many notifications from Karen and she's awesome and helpful, but there's so many board meeting notifications both with your board and all the boards. And I get so many emails. And so the board notifications, when I see something that's a board notification, I don't often just go and read through it. Sometimes I catch things, but I don't always, because there's so many of them, and I apologize.
Leslie, I wholeheartedly understand, because I know you're busy, you know, and like I say, you know, I read the newspaper, I watch the news, the online gambling, the marijuana, those are big revenue getters for the state. So I can understand where the energy has been applied. This is just small potatoes.
I have to figure out a better system so that, like, when it's something that's specific to me and not just a board notification, where I sort of figure that out. So I will work on that. And in the meantime, I think what we have to do is, Richard, I'll talk with you after, and I guess, need to reach out to the plumbing board as well and figure out if we can make a change here that everyone can agree to, so there's no issue, right? I mean, David, do you want to reach out to Chuck as well, or how should we?
Well, I guess maybe I'll place a call to him. I mean, you know, there's no short conversations with Chuck. I mean, it's you know, but like I say, you know, I will reach out. I'd hate to see him, you know, be resistant to this change, because I mean, it's, you know, I'll call him. but I appreciate your end also, whatever you could do, because like I said, the reason I'm a little upset is, I don't know, you would have more information. I gotta believe February is the start of the legislative session, or is it?
Yes.
So, I mean, the clock is ticking, so, you know.
Yeah, again, if there's something that you guys all agree on, then the general law committee will probably be amenable to making a quick change. As long as there's no, it's when there's, but if there's no agreement, then that will be the challenge. But that would be a challenge whether we looked at this last December when this issue was first apparently brought to my attention, but I missed it, or now. It wouldn't matter. Like, the issue is making sure everyone's on the same page. If everyone's on the same page, then there can be a quick fix, I think.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman?
Go ahead.
It would seem to me that the plumber can put them in. That's not a question. But just when you do the talking, I think, being a non-plumber, okay, that the sprinkler fitter should be able to install the backflows on sprinkler systems. I mean, it seems like would say that now.
That's all we're asking, Tony.
Yeah. And it shouldn't affect the plumbers, because plumbers are not going to take it away from the plumbers. The plumbers could still do it as well. But
Yeah.
Sprinkler fitter should be able to do it.
Right.
That's my take as a non.
Right. David, if you'd like, I'm happy to, like, maybe you, Rich, Chuck, and I can just get on a call real quick. And as long as we're all good, then I will, Rich, you can help me put the quick fix together language-wise, and we'll.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's just something that has to be worked out, but it's because plumbers do all potable water piping, and the backflow prevention device is the device that separates the potable water from going, and the other side can be irrigation. The other side could be water could be used for anything else. So including sprinkler. So all right, so we'll get on the call, I guess, when you think you want to do it.
I'll send an email around after this.
Let me know. I'm available. Thank you.
Yep. Thank you.
Thanks, Leslie.
Thank you, Leslie, for coming on
Sorry.
board. And I hope you do well at home there. And
Oh, thanks. Well,
yeah.
she was vaccinated, so hopefully, but she has asthma. So.
Oh boy.
Okay.
Well, good luck.
Thanks.
Keep in my prayers.
Thank you. All right. And again, David, in the future, if you're not hearing back from me, just call me, please. Like, I promise you, like, I will try to make sure that I'm better with the
Again, I assumed the communication was interdepartment, you know,
it's my fault.
I'm not directing it against Karen or Richard or anything.
No, it's not their fault. Karen was sending me emails, but they looked like just general board emails. I wasn't being careful with them. So
It's understood that what you deal with, it's very easy for something to slip between the cracks.
Yeah, but I'm very sorry about this. All right. Well, all right. I'll send a meeting notification around.
No apology necessary as far as I'm concerned.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.
Do you need anything else from me before I go?
No, that was the issue, Leslie. I appreciate you coming, joining the meeting, such short notice. It was,
Yeah,
appreciate it, because at least we, it's almost like you were saying, like, where's Leslie? Where's Leslie? Like, not where's Waldo, but it's
no,
like,
I'm sorry.
It's been, so thank you.
Right, thank
Take
you.
care. Yep. All right. Back to my report on the applications. Trying to think where I left off. I'll just go back to the, yesterday's meeting. And as far as the Kerchak there, it's that one's, I guess, tabled, that Rich, right? I mean, it's, you and Todd Birch has signed off on it, but I had further questions. But anyway, so that won't be approved. There was a Michael Simons.
What are you saying? What are you saying won't be approved? What are you talking about?
Kerchak's waiver.
Right, that application is approved. It was 2 to 3 votes.
So
You have an allegation that he's working for a company that doesn't have a contractor's license, and that you're going to discuss with Pam Brown.
Okay, so he was approved by you two guys. Okay, all right. All right, Simons, his was tabled till next meeting. He's going to provide further information. There was a further one, and Nathaniel Nunez, he applied for an F1. He holds a Connecticut F2. It hasn't been 2 years. It will be sometime in February. He can reapply. So that was denied. So that's the end of that report. Any questions on that?
Well, the other guy, looking for the relief for the F1,
Yes.
there's plenty of contractors in the state that have F1 licenses that could do the work. I don't understand, if he hasn't had the journeyman for 2 years, why is it pushed through?
I think Paulette has her hand up also.
Good morning, everybody. So my understanding of the work group applications, there should not be a full board discussion about these applications. So I understand, Chairperson, that you are providing a report to the board on applications that have gone before the work group, but there should not be a full discussion by the board. So any questions about these applications should not be occurring at this meeting.
Well, I've just have my eyes open here when you have somebody from a DOL, somebody from DCP, and you have a board member. And you're for years, I've been on this board for 25 years. When we reviewed applications, it was a full board. The state of Connecticut has streamlined it to a review process. But I don't know why a board member is overruled by a different department. When I have concerns for the industry, not for being business friendly or whatever. I mean, I look at the whole picture, not just again, I raised the issue. Now I guess there's going to be an investigation. But like I say, sometimes when people speak or they say things, they shoot themselves in the foot. And maybe in this case, I don't know. So, but like I say, I don't feel I should hide anything from this board.
It's not about hiding things. Right. It's not about hiding things, but there's a specific purpose for the work group and the review of the application. So it's not a vote by the board. So the board should not be having a discussion about those applications.
There wasn't a vote by the board. There wasn't a vote by the board. I was given a report making the board aware of what transpires.
Correct. But then a discussion started to occur, and I believe it's board member Roderick started to express an opinion or a concern about the specific application, and this is not the forum for that. The work group has been established for that purpose of reviewing these applications and not the full board. I just want to make sure that that's clear to everybody.
Could we get that in writing from you so that we understand it?
I don't think there's a reason for me to put something in writing about it, but I'm sure that at some point we'll put a clarification about the purpose of the working group. So any discussion today about those applications is not appropriate. I'm not saying you can't report. For example, you could say in one of the applications that was brought before the work group, it was denied, something general, but not a detailed conversation about these applications, not putting out the names of the applicants. All of that will not be appropriate for a board meeting.
I don't follow that. I really don't follow that.
I'm new to the board also, and I'm starting to wonder after a few meetings, what is the purpose of the board? We can't find out complaints. We can't find out about people applying for licenses, and I'm just confused and I'm new to it. So I'm trying to figure it all out and see what we're here to do and help.
Yeah. I don't feel I did anything wrong reporting to the board what transpired and making them aware of what's going on, because like I say, I thought way back when this working group was from this great MOU that was established back under Commissioner Harris years ago to streamline the process, because I mean, I've seen many changes. I mean, Tony's probably the only one that can remember it. Maybe, you know, I'm sure Kevin probably remembers it.
Well, it seems like the board is being cut out altogether.
No, but not that, but I mean,
Got other things to do. If they don't want a board, I'll gladly do other things.
but if you recall, Tony, there was a time we were jockeying our schedules around because the state said we had to review applications every 28 days. All right, then they went to every 3 months. Then they went to the board, the department just reviewing them. Then they come up with this working group.
There were no names mentioned. There were no names mentioned. At least I didn't hear it.
No, I gave the individuals' names who applied and what category they applied for.
Yeah.
Which I didn't think it was secret. It's not like Director Brown giving a report and having it, you know, redacted who's on the open case. This is not an open or shut case. These are people that made applications. I'm not discussing it, you know, outside of the realm of this board meeting, which is a public meeting. I don't understand where, you know, I mean, I'm being, I don't know, corrected.
The only thing is the name and whatnot. Maybe in the public forum, you don't want the name mentioned. You
But
know,
it would have been, Tony, if it was at a board meeting, it would have been the same thing. You know, if we're having a hearing, we're not gonna say individual X is before the board for a charge of working without a license. You're gonna state the name. So like I say, I don't think, I guess for some reason, they don't want the names reported for some reason. I don't know.
it sounds like they don't want to discuss it all.
Tony, I mean, it's almost, like you said, I hate to say it, it's like, do they want the boards to exist? Ask myself the same question.
Find that out. I mean, you know, it's
Yeah.
they don't want the people involved. They want just the hierarchy to handle it. So let them handle it. Fine by me.
I mean, you construct the boards with, you have 2 contractors, you have, you know, this board specific, you have 2 contractor members, 2 journeyman members, a local fire marshal, the state fire marshal, and 3 public members. So you have a well-rounded expertise of the industry, so to speak. You know, it's not just a public board. I mean, that's like, you know, you think back to the Carolina decision there, which changed everything. You had the dental board that was consisted of all supposedly dentists. It's not that way here. You know, it's not a majority of the board involved in the sprinkler industry. So, all right, well, like I said, I get off my soapbox, but I gave the report, the application report, and that's that. All right, anything further? Moving on, correspondence. I don't believe there's any, Karen. Comments and concerns appears, you know, persons present today. I skipped over the earlier one. I did speak to Tom Booth. He sends his regard to all the board members. He's doing well in North Carolina and said to say hello. So
We have Kimberly Glassman here. I didn't know if you wanted to have her join us to state what she's.
oh, she has comments. Yeah.
Good morning, Kimberly. Can you hear us?
Yes, hi, good morning.
Good morning.
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 Thank you for inviting me to speak. I was just observing. I'm from the Foundation for Fair Contracting. We're a 501c5 nonprofit labor management organization. So our board is made up of both industry representatives from the building trade union affiliates, but also from a number of contractor associations throughout the state as well. So we have both labor and management. And we monitor public construction projects, federal, state, municipal construction projects for compliance with federal and state labor law, specifically as it relates to construction. So mostly in the prevailing wage Davis-Bacon sector, but certainly occupational licensing issues come before our organization with some regularity. So every now and again, we like to observe some of these examining board meetings just to see what's going on, because my organization comes across a lot of the same issues that the boards come across with regard to knowing the status of ongoing investigations, complaints. And I know that you guys, have a lot of those same issues. So we just like to observe some of these meetings from time to time for updates about different complaints that are pending, or any findings from investigations regarding occupational licensing issues specific to the construction trades and the construction industry. And I'm a little concerned about the discussion that I just watched between the attorney for DCP, whose name I don't mean to be rude, but and the chair of this board with regard to discussion about the application process. It's my understanding that working group is just that. It is a working group. It is not statutorily defined. And so the roles and responsibilities of the board that are in statute still remain. Until DCP wants to codify this working group and the roles and responsibilities of the working group, then it's my understanding that you are fully within your legal right to discuss whatever falls under the statutory requirements and what is laid out when these boards were codified into law by the Connecticut General Assembly. So if you want to discuss any ongoing or any of the applications that you're reviewing in this working group, or if you also want to discuss any investigations, then this board has the ability to do that, unless the attorney for DCP wants to put in writing exactly what the roles and responsibilities of the boards are. I think that is full. I think that would be certainly. I think we can certainly request that DCP do that. But I found that to be distressing, that exchange. So that's all. Those are my comments. Thank you.
Just so we're all clear, this is Paulette, and an assistant legal director at DCP. Ms. Glassman, just to be clear to the board, you are not the attorney for the board, correct?
No, I'm not.
So yes. You are giving legal advice to the board.
I'm not. I'm saying it's my understanding. It's my opinion. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm not giving legal advice, to be clear.
You may want to term it as an opinion, but it is legal advice.
It's my opinion. I'm not an attorney. That folks on this board can certainly request.
Please let me finish, Ms. Glassman.
DCP's position in writing.
Ms. Glassman, please let me finish. Thank you. So if the board has any issues or questions about their rule, the Attorney General's office is your attorney. So that's where you should seek advice. So any opinion that Ms. Glassman is in her concerns, you may have concerns, that's fine. But any opinion that Ms. Glassman has about the role of the board, it's not legal advice. And it should be not taken as legal advice, and the board should then request an opinion or request advice from their attorneys, which is the Attorney General's office.
Thank you, Paula. I certainly agree with that. I think that the board, my opinion is that the board should seek an opinion from the Attorney General.
All right. Well, thank you for introducing yourself, Kimberly, to the board.
Thank you.
And, it's we'll reach out. Thank you. Any other comments or concerns? Hearing none?
I just like to wish everyone a safe and healthy holiday season, and stay well, everyone, and
Yeah,
happy holidays.
I would like to extend that also. A Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah,
Merry Christmas.
Happy New Year, all the, whatever you celebrate. Wish you well wishes in the new year also. Hopefully you will turn the corner in 2022 with this, as it was raised up in the meeting, people have COVID, and, I feel for them, and it's, we've been through a lot, this country, state, country, your cities, everything. It's time to move on. Let's put it that way. So wish you all well. Thank you for another year bites the dust, and we'll see you in 2022.
Thank you.
Take care.
Take care.
Is there a motion for adjournment?
I'll make a motion for adjournment.
The
Second. Second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Meeting adjourned at 9:59. Take care, everyone.